Do you ever talk to yourself? Oh, come on, admit it. You do talk to yourself. Now, it used to be hard a long time ago before we had hands-free cell phones. You'd be talking to yourself in the car, and you'd get caught at the stoplight, wouldn't you? Not anymore. Now we can blame it on the telephone. It's awesome. But if you do talk to yourself, and you should talk to yourself about stuff that's good for you. You should talk to yourself about how to figure things out. I'm sure you're already doing that, but what if we do that in advance, magically know exactly how to respond to everything today and this week and for the next month, and the next year if you want to, depending on how hard you want to work at it. What if you can do it? I call it my How Do You Feel strategy session. Been teaching it forever. I'll give you kind of a surface level look at it today, and you can use it today. How's that? It is the Daily Boost from motivationtomove.com, the positive boost you need every single day because life gets in the way. Yes, life begins when you move. There's no doubt about it. When you get up and you take some action, and action is focus on what you want to do, and you have a good imagination, and you've imagined what your life should be in the future, what you want, say, 5 or 10 or 20 years from now. It's all possible. You can have whatever you want. It's an abundant universe. You can. No, you're not taking it from anybody. You can create whatever you want. But you got to move, right? And as soon as you move, you're going to get challenged because these are tests. We have to rise. Come here real fast, okay? If you've ever had an issue and you ever get frustrated about maybe you're not making the progress you want to make, and all of us are there. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how successful. It doesn't matter what level. You are going to have moments, hours, days, weeks, months where it's going to be ick. It's going to happen. And all that means is you haven't quite learned to deal with that problem yet. That's it. It means, okay, I've decided to go this way to that way. This is my plan. This is what I want to do. And I just got caught in the muck, and now I got to figure out how to get out of the muck. We talked about the hero's journey early on in the week. I think it was Tuesday we talked about that show. And what's the hero's journey? Well, it's the hero decides he reluctantly has to go into a journey somewhere, make a transformation, and suddenly life gets in the way, right? And he has to go through all kinds of trials and tribulations to get there before he can finally win the day and have the happy life. That's what's happening. Life begins when you move. Life gets in the way. Hero's journey. Pow. It's called life. So enjoy it. Why not, huh? How are you? My name is Scott Smith. I'm the founder, Chief Motivating Officer here at motivationtomove.com. You have got the raspy voice this week. Well, I don't say you have the raspy voice, but you get me having the raspy voice. Not sure why. Talking a little more than usual. Had a lot of rest, and here it comes. So we'll deal with it the best we can. How do you feel about your life? About stuff. Now, let's just stop and say you are a feeling beast. You are. You feel about stuff. Even grumpy people, they're actually emotionally in the moment. They really are. So you are feeling. You're a feeling animal. You're an emotional animal. So we should at least acknowledge that we're going to lead with our emotions and just decide we're going to figure that stuff out. Now, what ends up happening in the world of day-to-day communication is because we learn and we get stuff via relationships, right? Relationships make our life better. You collaborate. You get along with other people. You get what you want. That's how life works. But to do that, oh my God, it's hard, isn't it? It takes a skill set. And then you put emotions in the middle of it. And before you know it, oh my God, what am I going to do? Why did I say that? Why did he say that? It didn't have to be that way. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And mastery over that is powerful. Now, I've learned the first rule of this is to keep your mouth shut and keep your ears open. That's the first rule. Be timely in your comments. That's maybe the second rule. Don't let the world spin you around. Listen to what's going on. Decide how you're going to respond to it. But sometimes, we need more prep than that. So if we knew what surprises lurked around the corner, potentially, and we could predict them, and I would say, I would bet, I would give you $1 because I know that almost everything is going to be happening to you here in the next week or month. We all live basically the same life. And if not specifically, generically what's going to be happening. Certain things are going to happen at the grocery store. Certain things are going to happen in the car. Certain things are going to happen at work. You know it. Now, when you get specifically even dealing with people, because people are people and people are pretty much all the same kind of people, if you're negotiating a big business deal, certain things are going to happen along the way. Negotiation tactics are going to be designed to trip you up and get you to feel and say something and do something. You know what's happening. You can predict the future, I would say 95%, and control it. Maybe more if you really put yourself in control. So that's why I came up with what I called years ago, probably 25 or 30 now, the How Do I Feel strategy sessions. My Friday question, how do you want to feel? Emotional person, you want to ask how you want to feel about stuff, and it just makes sense. If you've got a big thing coming up or you're going to the office or you're going on a date or whatever it happens to be, it makes a lot of sense that you would want to know how you want to feel before you go instead of winging it, right? And then at least you have half a chance of making it happen. But in day-to-day life, how do we do that? So let's get down to, as my dad used to say, brass tacks. Whatever the heck that meant. I've never looked it up to tell you what brass tacks means. Never understood. Don't understand what being called on the carpet means either, but those we'll get to that at some point. So how do I feel strategy sessions work? It's very simple if you're willing to do this. So do it today if you want to. But once a month, once a week, whenever you want to, I want you to take a few minutes, just pull yourself back, turn off your computer, turn off your phone. You might want to write stuff down with a pencil and paper. It's kind of cool. It's really kind of a neat thing. So just turn off everything and just take a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Or you can look at your to-do list or your calendar that's coming up if you'd like to do that and reference that. I'm okay with that. Cool. But what you want to do is you want to look at that and you want to say, okay, great. I have a job. I have meetings. I have people. I have vacations. I have relationships. I have stuff. I have unpredictable stuff like, oh, what if my tire blows out this month? And then what am I going to say to the police officer when he pulls me over for blowing my tire out and having a broken stoplight too, brake light? I don't know. You can make stuff up. Doesn't matter. Your goal is to recognize what is likely to require your attention and a response from you. That's it. Now, in most cases, you're going to keep it kind of matter of fact. It's basically look at your calendar, look at your relationships. I got my husband, I got my wife, I got my kids, I got my boss, I got my neighbor, whatever. I've got stuff. It's hot, it's rainy, it's not. I don't know. It's hot. You've got stuff. You get what I mean? I want you to make a little bit of an inventory. You can look at your current calendar of what you got coming up, and that'll help you. Make an inventory of the things that might happen and decide about that. Now, once you get your list, then I want you to do is take a few minutes and go through that list and consider every possible scenario and every possible expected outcome. What may happen? Now, it's not going to take you very long. It'll take you less time than you think. Now, I actually applied something called quantum linguistics to this. We won't teach about it today. It's a little bit confusing for people the first time around to use a series of questions to get you through this, but you can do it really without that. All it means is look at every possible. So say, you got to have a conversation with your boss. And you're scared and you don't know what to say. Well, you look at you. Okay, great. How could this go? What might he do? What might he say? Is there a trap coming? Is there something that I'm not seeing? Is there something behind the scenes that I don't know about? Could it possibly be something really good? Maybe they want to give me a raise and give me an extra vacation. What could possibly happen? Just get out there and think about it. Now, here's the worst thing that can happen. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds fantasy. It's going to take you about 5 minutes to go through your entire month. I promise you, don't go crazy with it. Here's what happens that makes this incredibly powerful. No, you're not going to have specific words, what you're going to say. You're not going to specifically have the answer. You can. Some of that's going to come up, but you don't need it. You know why? Because if you've taken the time to think through it, you are now in the moment when it happens. You're not freaked out by it. You're not knocked down by it. You're not surprised by it. It's like, oh, I saw that one coming, right? And now you have a chance to respond responsibly. If you have had the chance to think it through and it happens to be a situation you actually imagine happening and you happen to have thought about the answer, you're ready to go. It's easier than you think. People are predictable. The same stuff happens all the time. And I will promise you this even as well. If you spend a little time thinking about this, you're going to be so low key, so low stress, and eventually you're going to have a little notebook of things at work that will happen in every situation. You probably already do from just living life. You just haven't thought about it for a while. A pre-planned response is what I call it. It is a great way never to be surprised again. And when it's focused around how you want to feel at the end of the experience, it gets even more powerful. So try it out, see what you think about it. We could coach this for hours and hours and hours, by the way, and we could role play it all the time. So you're going to have to play on yourself a little bit here. That's okay. Maybe I should have said that differently. Nah, let's leave it as it is. I come up tomorrow, how to figure out your purpose. There's nothing better in life than to be happy and to be happily going and living your purpose. But how do you find your purpose? It's a big question. It's not as difficult as you think, and yet it's confusing. That is Friday's show. Great way to wrap up the week. I'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Boost.